I grew up with this, of course, and for some reason, I feel like I'm the only person who has such an affinity for like the animated series. Like, I love the animated series. I think it's because it used to come on late at night on like Disney Channel all the time. But for both of you, I know, while Maya, you may have not, you didn't grow up with it, of course. But what were your favorite memories when watching the animated works, and what were your memories as well from those?
My favorite memory from the animated one was it'd probably be her feeding Pudge a fish. Yeah, that's my favorite one. It's kind of like the intro.
Yeah.
I think, oh my gosh, I was an OG fan from the start. I watched that thing so many times, I can't count. I like dressed up as Lilo in a county fair when I was like 1.5 years old. I loved it that much, and like continued on from that. But I think like one of my favorite moments from the animated version was probably the iconic scene that I got to redo with Tia herself as Mrs. Keikoa. And we're running back, and she's locking me out, and I have to like, kind of compensate for everything, and everything's kind of going wildly, and I have to kind of keep my cool. Yeah. But I think the other like part of the movie that I really, really loved was the moment with Stitch and the Ugly Duckling in the original, which didn't make it in this one, but at the same time we substituted for something even cooler too.
Yeah.
Except they use a frog.
Yeah.
I did love the frogs.
Yeah. Oh, the frogs are a major staple in Hawaii, for sure.
And Maya, I hear you're an older sister now.
Yeah.
So now that you are an older sister, do you think that helps you kind of understand this sibling dynamic in this movie?
I don't think so, because my brother's a little rascal. First of all, let's start that.
Is that not the older sibling dynamic?
First, he is a evil koala, like the ones in Australia, because he always will jump on you if he sees a person. Another one is that he's a girl, he's a boy, and the other one is he's a baby, so he doesn't really understand anything. So yeah.
But like when he grows up, you're gonna be like, okay,
yeah.
I relate to Nani.
Yeah.
But it does feel good to be a good sister.
Yeah. And,
she loves them.
Yeah, and for you, I mean, you are an older sister too.
Yeah.
How do you think your dynamic of your sister growing up kind of helped you channel this relationship that we still, even though like it's clearly a different age gap?
Totally.
But, yeah.
But I mean, I think the love's still the same. I mean, I think like it helped me tremendously. If not, it was like the majority of what I kind of focused on when I was going through this role.
Yeah.
I think I would die for my sister, and I think that, Nani would do the same thing, and her major goal or her only goal is to keep her family together. And I think that so much so that she kind of forgets her own priorities at that point in time. But I think my sister and I have a love for each other that I think is undeniable, and I was really excited to share that in this. And I think we created our own too.
How do you think your characters kind of exemplify the true meaning of Ohana and community? Because it kind of shows that it does, we have this saying, just it takes a village. And I feel like that kind of encapsulates this whole movie with your characters kind of being the ones to look out for Lilo and Stitch.
Well, Tia, my character initially was not about Ohana.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, but I grew. I changed. I took in the family spirit that was, and which was completely contrary to the way I was trained. So that's how strong it must have been for me to, get that phone call and go, "What are you going to do?" And when someone came up to the window. They said, we need you to look. I was in the car about to do something. And they said, no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. And you cut to my transition happening for the rest of the film. So,
Well, I feel like we all became a family, and although Lilo and I, it would appear that we're taking the family apart, we all somehow pull together and try to uplift each other. And in Hawaii, we have this saying called Hanai family, which is an adopted family. Families where you find it. It doesn't have to be your blood mother or father or sister or brother. That if you find like-minded people that have your back, that's your family, your Hanai family.
Yeah. And Chris, for you, I think that Lilo & Stitch was kind of ahead of its time. I feel like, it feels like when watching the first one, when watching the animated series, it feels like this is something that an animated series that children would enjoy today. So how do you think this character in this story has remained relevant for so many years, especially since you've been with the character for so long in the property?
Yeah, I think that Stitch, his mix of impulse control problems and mistakes that he makes, but then his desire to really fix things. He's very much like we are. I think that's why people have always identified with him. And it's like I initially wrote him and created him to just act pretty much like I act, just because he can be, he can be a handful sometimes. But I think that like the reason I think that he really, really connected with people is because they see themselves in him to some degree.
Yeah. And I would love to see more stories in this universe. I asked Stitch earlier today.
The Stitchiverse.
The Stitchiverse. I asked Stitch today, and I was like, what does your next adventure with Lilo look like? Because we need more. And he was like, Lilo told me not to tell any secrets. So I want to know for you all.
Who said that?
Stitch.
Stitch.
Oh.
That's what happens when you talk to a little blue creature.
Stitch, his mouth was Stitch. He was not going to give me any details. But I do want to know, do you think there is more to explore within this? Because I feel like, I immediately, at the end of the movie, I was like, I need more.
I want this family to continue.
27, baby. That's the next one. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we don't say what happens at the end, but we want the family to, as you said, the family now is different.
To evolve, to thrive, to overcome another adversity.
Chris.
Yeah.
When we finished,
Chris.
I am all for it. Believe me, I very, very much want to do that. The original film, one of the things that was driving the original film was the idea of doing a more low-budget film. Animated films were getting larger and more complex, and there was an ever-increasing anxiety surrounding their success and their release. So one of the things that we pitched Lilo and Stitch on was the idea that it would be a lower budget. So we were always very careful of where we were spending our money. And there are certain shots in the film that we had to do a certain way so that we were not going over budget. And in the final month of the film, I got a call from Tom Schumacher, and he said, Chris, if you had one more minute, what would you do on this film? And I said, oh, that's easy. I would show what happened after the film ended. Yeah. And he said, we have stayed on budget. We have an extra couple of million. Do that ending. I was like, oh my God. So we immediately rolled into doing that little sequence that happens during the credits. They're in the grocery store, Stitch is making, breakfast, or he's making lunch for Lilo, she's leaving, putting her on the school bus. All of that came from saving enough money that we had that money to spend at the end. And the effect that it had on the film was monumental, just knowing that they were gonna be okay.
Be okay,
right?
Yeah, that was
huge.
Everything.
Yeah. But I agree, the thing about these characters I think that is so exciting is that there are certain properties with certain characters that I love because you could put those characters into any situation and you could do something. Everybody from Lilo and Stitch goes to the grocery store, you could do that, and it would be an amazingly entertaining thing. So the characters I think are so distinctive and so interesting and offbeat that you can do almost anything with them.
How are you excited to be back on Earth?
Very excited. Director said, not too excited. Keep cabana intact.
Of course. And what does it mean to you to be in a movie now? We've known you for so many years. What do you like about being in a movie?
Stitch, in camera, and Alfred in between takes.
Yes. What's your favorite food to eat in between takes?
Besides camera?
Yes.
Pineapple, cake, donuts, pizza, taco, muffin.
Basically, any food is good to you.
Everything.
Yes. And do you prefer the snacks on Earth or the snacks back home? Which snacks are better?
Easy. Earth. More variety.
Yeah. What was it like to work with your Ohana on this movie? I feel like you have such a good relationship with your family.
Very good. Anytime with Lilo, Nani, completely good.
What's your favorite thing about Lilo?
Always feeding Stitch.
Yes. And what's your favorite thing about Nani as well?
Nani teach Stitch to surf.
Do you surf well?
Only with Nani, not alone. And Nani, very kind.
What's your favorite thing about being in Hawaii as well? Hawaii is a beautiful, beautiful place.
Stitch, like all views. At first, surprised, no city. Little disappointed, but overall, learn to love.
Also, in the movie, you pretend to be a dog. Do you like pretending to be a dog?
Yeah. Play pretend. It's fun.
Yeah. And what are some of your other favorite animals? I'm sure you got to meet a lot of other animals at the shelter. What are your favorite Earth animals?
Stitch, like birds in sky. Beautiful, graceful. Oh, it's so pretty.
Also, I'm assuming that you and Lilo have watched a lot of Disney movies. What is your favorite Disney movie?
Lots of favorites. Really like Hercules, Milo, Thatch, Explorer, just like Stitch.
And I think that after this film, I would love to see more of your adventures. What are you and Lilo going to be up to, and what fun are you going to get into?
Lilo told me to keep secrets. Yeah, cause trouble.
So we'll just have to wait to find out.
Yeah. You will see.
Yes.
Trouble.